Hello, this is Jeanette. This session I'm calling Hit the Wall because we're going to use the wall. So, to get our legs up on the wall, you scoot right next to the wall and then just swing your legs up on the wall. We're going to start with the back of the legs. I'm starting the timer for 5 minutes. You can have your feet slightly apart or touching. And then just start relaxing your legs deeply. Take some deep breaths and feel what the breathing does in your body. Feel the movement of the breathing. When you start your breath, breathe in with the abdomen, then the chest, and then breathe out long and deep. And at the end, tuck your belly in a little bit. So start your breath with the abdomen, then fill up and open the chest, and then breathe out long and deep, and a little squeeze with the belly at the end. Then feel your whole body and check your low back. Your low back should be able to be just completely rested on the floor. Can you feel your spine against the floor? The only portion that doesn't touch is the arch in your neck. Lengthen your spine a little bit by tucking your chin in, down, and feel what that does. Feel if you feel a little stretch somewhere lower in your spine. And then feel your legs. Feel lengthening from your head down to your pelvis and tailbone, and from your low back through your hips, through your knees to your feet. Lengthening in both directions. Relaxing the legs. There's just a tiny amount of tension in them in order to stay in place. That should be absolutely minimal. Long, deep breaths and relaxing deeply. What about your face? Do you have tension in your forehead or your cheeks or your jaw? Let that go. Just soften and relax. Okay, that was the first 5 minutes. There's going to be 3. The next one is kind of like a frog position. The legs just sliding down, the feet on the wall. You can put your position any way you'd like. After this, we're going to do the inner thighs. So this is all about letting the hips bend deeply. You can have your knees more or less bent depending on what's comfortable for you. Your feet can be a little more out or in. It's all good. Even like this, more like a butterfly, that's great too. Continue with your slower, deeper breaths. And again, check your spine. Is it relaxed against the floor? Tuck your chin in a little bit and visualize lengthening of your spine from your head to your tail. And then you probably feel a pretty good stretch there in the hips, in the front, in the groin, or maybe around the back. And just give in to the gravity of it. If you need a little support for your knees, you can put your hands in the back of your knees like this. Pay attention to what you feel. Staying in a position longer like this allows your body to go beyond stretching, which is taking up all the slack and going as far as the current tissue mobility allows. We're looking to do a little more than that and find little places that normally just don't participate in the moving, and that by keeping this position, slowly start to open a little bit. And with your attention and your allowing, that can happen more easily. It helps to take the longer, deeper breaths, and it helps to check and realize that you are in a safe position. Now, if you have some sort of condition where it would not be advisable to go into this deep of a flexion of the hips and knees, then please don't. Like maybe if you had hip or knee replacements or something, or if you have osteoporosis or some other bone or joint condition, or a tear of the labrum of the hip, or there's so many things. please observe the precautions that you know you have or wonder if you have. Okay, now stretch your legs back out. And then for the next 5 minutes, we're going to let the inner thighs stretch by letting the legs just go down along the wall. And most likely, very slowly, your legs will go down a little bit more. If you have never done this before at all, even for a stretch, then again, be careful and maybe don't finish the whole 5 minutes if it doesn't feel right to you. This is actually one of my favorites. I do it quite often. It seems to get a lot more in my body than just my hips. After a while, I feel it travel up into my torso in different ways. Every time I do it, it's never exactly the same. Of course, you do start to feel the inner thighs stretching. You can support the outer thigh a little bit if you feel like you need to. This is a movement the hips don't get to do very often, but they are designed for it. The hips have three-dimensional movement, just like the shoulders. They're ball and socket joints. Yet we use them primarily in a back and forth way, flexion and extension, we call that. We don't really go out to the side or twist and turn with our hips all that much during a typical day. And our muscles really don't thrive under those conditions, and neither does the joint. Then think about the inside of your pelvis with the pelvic floor and hip muscles that are internal to the pelvis with their muscle belly. Stretching and releasing from within the pelvis. Keep up the long, slow, deep breaths. definitely want to have a timer for this one, because if you're not used to this and you do it way too long, you might come to regret it. All right, bring your legs back, roll back out of the position. That was it for Hit the Wall.